Thrusters ahead, Mr. Sewell.
One of the reasons that the film has such a large budget and some of the orbiting visual shots look so flippin' realistic is because they were genuinely filmed in space. A high-velocity jet was customised to carry the small shuttle pod into the Earth's orbit, alongside part of the movie's space dock. Only part of it was needed for the shot, so they only built what was needed, but even so, it took real scientists and NASA experts several weeks to build the pieces and to get them into orbit. The actor who played one of Khan's men, Yorgrem, was in reality a nudist. Although he was happy to wear his space costume for filming in Star Trek, he would often arrive and leave the studio with no clothes on at all, as naked as a shrimp. So it reportedly annoyed some of the other actors when it was time for a coffee break, and he would quickly throw his clothes onto the ground and go outside for a cigarette, flashing his funny bits. Supposedly, tensions mounted on set when a clash of cultures occurred between the Captain Kirk actor and the Sulu actor. George Takei had suggested over the succulent chicken at lunchtime that chickens have noses, while Shatner rudely retorted that of course chickens don't have noses. Of course, in Asia, it's widely considered canon that chickens are nosed creatures, the belief held by Asians going back through centuries of tradition. But this tradition was stamped on crudely by Shatner, who laughed at the idea and corrected George Takei in front of everyone else in the canteen. Shatner would elaborate that birds have built-in nostrils in their beaks, which enraged the Asian actor even further, causing them not to speak for minutes on end.
Now, when Star Trek IV was being planned, the producers asked each of the main Enterprise actors to give them an idea for a scene that they'd like to do, and if the producers liked it, they would try and put that scene in the film. Now, James Doohan's hilarious computer scene made it into the film, as did Dr. McCoy's joke-filled escape from the hospital. But unfortunately, Uhura's dance scene was not filmed using technology cameras. Her idea was that Uhura would dance for the whales at the aquarium to communicate to them and to keep them peaceful. She even brought in some large fans that she thought she could use as props for her special dance. But Leonard Nimoy, the director of the film, told her that the dance would be out of place. A few months later, while preparing for Star Trek V, William Shatner promised Uhura actress that she may have a dancing scene in Star Trek V, and it would take pride of place in the movie. He was a man of his word, and Uhura's dancing scene that she'd made up has become a fan favourite amongst those who love it.
What's there?
The scene where Janice Rand accidentally kills someone in a transporter accident, ripping their body apart and mutating them into a piece of rancid flesh which doesn't live for long, was the idea of Hams Turner, one of the co-producers. He wanted to show that even in the perfect future world of Star Trek, diagnostic routines on all technical services are a must. Not checking them thoroughly with diagnostic tools before using them could result in some truly terrifying side effects. This is a lesson that he wanted the world of 1979 to understand before the burgeoning technology of the 1980s would run amok.
Please, don't move.
Check.
It's lucky that this film features the character of Dr. McCoy at all, as when the film was being recorded, DeForest Kelley was reportedly having his third attempt at breaking the world land speed record in his modified vehicle, the Super Tiger. He would turn up at the studio hours late to film his scenes, and in fact a whole section of the movie had to be changed because of his absence. Originally, Leonard Nimoy refused to come back to Star Trek after his character was tragically killed at the end of the previous film. But Gene Roddenberry was asked to personally persuade the actor to return. Negotiations between Nimoy and Roddenberry took time and only came to a head once one crucial element of the deal had been agreed: that Nimoy would only return if he could play the role of Spock again. The soapy role he made famous for 18 years, and he would continue to portray into the future.
Walter Koenig became a popular model in Russia, becoming a full-time nude model for Russian adult magazines. At first, he refused to relinquish his modelling work to resume acting, but Gene Roddenberry talked him into it by sweetening the pot. Not only could he resume modelling after the film had finished shooting, but he would be allowed to use euphemisms in his dialogue, such as the famous "fire torpedoes," for example.
Do you remember the scene where Dr. McCoy beams on board the Reliant and starts strangling Khan's men? You might have heard about it, but you haven't seen it, as it wasn't filmed. Talking about Khan's men, rumour has it that one of them at the back of the Reliant Bridge is actually the future wrestler Macho Man Randy Savage. This was his on-screen debut, which of course would prove an invaluable experience for him in front of the camera. A recently uncovered early draft of the script for The Search for Spock uncovered some crucial plot differences. The plot reportedly has Spock not putting the brain of his mind into Dr. McCoy, but instead into that of a whale. The crew would then travel back to the 20th century to recover the whale, and therefore the mind of Spock to put back into his body. This story was seen as ridiculous and too fantastical, and so the concept was shelved in favour of revisiting the Genesis planet. Unfortunately though, the script of this has since become lost again.
In 1979, part of the movie's marketing and promotion included William Shatner advertising a short-lived brand of Penguin ice cream. This brand would only last 2.5 years on the market, in part because of their cross-promotion with Star Trek costing up to $400,000. It seemed good on paper. Their brand was seen to be eaten on the Enterprise, but it had to be cut so that more time could be given to the beauty shots of the Enterprise flying around. Gene Roddenberry is famously now known to have said, "Less ice cream, more Vija probe."
Getting Ricardo Montalban to return to Star Trek was easy, as he loved Star Trek on the whole, but surprisingly, it wasn't Khan that he wanted to play. He felt that he'd already proven himself as Khan, and next wanted to return as fan-favourite character Cyrano Jones from The Trouble with Tribbles. The problem was, of course, that Cyrano Jones wasn't in the script for The Wrath of Khan, but Khan was, so Montalban had to be persuaded to breathe life into his historic character of Khan. The actor who played one of the incarnations of young Spock, Shelving Tucker, is probably now more recognised for his post-Star Trek exploits. He would go on to star as one of the children in Home Alone and as one of Vin Diesel's children in Fast and Furious 10. This child actor may not be instantly recognisable for his Hensing Star Trek role. We can surely all agree that Shelving Tucker has made his mark on the industry as a child actor legend alongside the greats like Corey Feldman and Warwick Davis.
Thank you ever so much for watching my very good video. Don't forget to subscribe to the Very Good channel and come back next week for another very good video. A video to watch. Now, it's a good video.